Good day, guys. Welcome to Endurance Room. I'm in the woods for a couple of days. I came out yesterday and I did about 12, maybe 15 miles. I hiked off to a wilderness area and it's just kind of getting some miles under my boots and clearing my head. But I got out to the area and decided it wasn't where I wanted to spend the night. I was kind of picking up on a vibe, so I hiked back to a different location and here I am. I spent the night in this USGI shelter half. It got pretty cold last night. I'm not sure, it wasn't quite freezing, but it was down there. And I just had my green field bag with me, which it says it's good for 30 degrees Fahrenheit, just down to like freezing temps, but it's pretty cold. So I had, all my clothes on, my Gorka, and I actually used a nylon poncho as a bivvy, which added a good bit of heat, but also it keeps a lot of moisture inside. You get a lot of condensation inside around the bag, so it's kind of a trade-off. But tonight, I'm thinking I'm gonna improve my shelter. I'm gonna change locations again and set something else up. Just on my way over to my next campsite, and during my travels, I just came across this old tarp. I pulled it out. It's got quite a bit of damage. The rodents ripped it up pretty good, but it's huge, and there's definitely plenty of usable space there. But as I was pulling it out, I also noticed another tarp, and it's more my style with the natural earth tones. So I'm going to see what I can do to salvage the tarps and hopefully build a more adequate shelter for tonight. It's funny how things work out. I spent a good portion of the night just thinking about what I was going to do for my shelter tonight, just because it got so cold. The shelter half was good as long as the fire was going, but after the fire died out, it got pretty chilly. So as I was laying there thinking about what I was going to do tonight to improve my situation, I was thinking about different configurations I could do with the shelter half, kind of make a little hoop house bivvy, maybe add the poncho to seal it off. And those are all viable options, but basically needed a bigger tarp. And lo and behold, found two. Thank you. So I just got to my spot for the night and just took my backpack off and the tarps, and I'm resting for a second. It was a pretty good hike through some thick brush. First order of business is to filter some water and hydrate. I definitely burned through some calories, and I don't have a lot of rations with me. I've got maybe half a bag of cornmeal, which is enough for the next day or two. Well, limited rations, but there is some water right over here, so after I get my shelter set up, I might see if I can find some bait and maybe go catch a fish. That would be awesome. That would be really, really good. But whatever happens, my primary concern though is getting the shelter up and making sure it's adequate for the temperatures tonight. it should be like 30s or 40s, but when it gets cold and your sleep system isn't adequate, you burn a lot of energy just trying to maintain your core temperature. So, things to avoid. I think I am going to go for a teepee after all. I just collected some dead standing timber. I used a double arm spread to measure them out, so they're each about 12 feet in length. I'm going to use these 3 poles to make a tripod. I've got them matched up on the bottom end here, and then I'll lash them up here. Good old bank line. So they're lashed up. I just went around it and then did a couple half hitches and locked it in with a overhand knot. That actually didn't take too long at all. That's probably good, but I'm gonna grab just a couple more to fill it out and then we'll drape the tarps. All right, so the frame has been established. Now I've got to layer the tarps. I've got a brown earth colored one, which is awesome, and this blue and gray one. I'm gonna lay that down as a base layer and then put the earth tone colored tarp on top. And there she is. I'm able to close it off at the front, and the tarps are overlapped pretty well. I laid a couple extra pieces on to just kind of hold it out where I wasn't able to tie it. Except for this back corner here that's silver, the rest of it is an earth tone brown. Pretty cool. I've always wanted to make one of these. And it should be significantly warmer than an open face shelter that I was running last night. And I'll actually be able to use that shelter half to wrap up around my sleeping bag, so I'll be set tonight. Awesome. Fire's ripping hot. I got some water boiling. I'm going to do some cornmeal, and then I'm gonna make some tea. And yesterday, when I was out on the trail, I collected some white pine. This is really good. It'll flavor your water up. You can tell that it's white pine by the needle clusters. White pine gives you 5 in a cluster. And then I also collected some mullein. You can make a tea out of this as well. Oh, it's not steak, but I am grateful. When you're hungry, everything tastes good. No seasonings, no sweeteners, no salt. Awesome. I got another 5 hours of light. I might take a little nap and recharge a bit, then maybe try and go fish right before dark. If not, maybe I'll just collect some bait and fish in the morning. I'm pretty smoked. No luck on the fish. I got over there and the water was pretty shallow, and casting by hand I wasn't able to get out far enough, so I'm gonna have another round of cornmeal. It's been really peaceful back here. I just kind of chilled out, made a couple phone calls, talked to a couple friends, caught up on some things. About an hour ago, I saw 3 small deer moving along the tree line. I actually went into the Tepee for a minute, and I had the door shut. I was just chilling in there, and when I came out, there was a red fox just down the trail. It was pretty sweet. I've seen him back here a few times. Found this nice turkey feather on the way back from fishing. Now, I've had some really good conversations with some of my friends this week, and one in particular with my buddy John. He gave me 3 rules that he kind of follows his life by, and I can only remember 2 off the top of my head. And one was, be careful what you ask for, because you just might get it. Number 2 was, you never know what you had until it's gone. And I got to touch base with him because I can't quite remember the 3rd rule, but it was pretty solid. He also said that people's reality is defined by their perception, which is pretty interesting because, I don't know, just look around. You see how people think about certain ways, and to them, you know, that solidifies their belief in something, and it is so. But somebody else could have a completely different spin on it based on experience, you know, just the world around them, their experiences. And for them, they're looking at it slightly different, so their reality is different. It's pretty interesting. So yesterday when I did all that hiking, I hiked about, 6 miles from here and then another 6 miles back. But I went to this wilderness area, and on my way in, I heard these wood knocks. and it sounded like it was coming from across the road. And at first I was like, is that what I think it is, or is that somebody working on their house or something? But it was wood on wood, and then it sounded like stone on stone. And I was like, okay. So I just kind of stayed where I was at, and just kind of waited about 5 minutes, and then I started back down the trail, and I noticed the smell. I noticed this skunky smell, and I was like, oh, okay. So just kind of paused for a little bit, kind of looked around and just listened. Everything seemed okay, so I started moving down the trail, and the trail that I was on, it was right next to a road, but then off to the left was, I'm not sure how many acres of woodland. It was pretty big and very dense, very thick. There's a dry creek bed off to my left, and then it just went back into the bushes. And about 50 yards up ahead of the trail, I saw 2 pairs of these black legs, these long, skinny, hairy black legs. And when I first saw it, I thought, oh, is that a bear? Be quiet. But the legs were not connected together with a body or torso. If it was a bear, I would have seen the torso. And they just walked silently across this dry creek bed. It was kind of muddy, but across this dry creek bed and up into the bushes, and I didn't hear anything. And then I started to get like this pressure in my head. They're out there. After I saw the pairs of legs cross that dry creek bed, I waited about 5 minutes. I didn't hear anything else. It was just silent, but I started getting this pressure in my head. And it wasn't too strong, but it was like something was there. So I just kind of waited for it to die down, and then I moved ahead. And when I got to the point where I had saw them cross that creek bed, I started looking for tracks, and there were no bear tracks, no tracks at all, to be honest. And I noticed that skunky smell again. So I just kind of went on my way, went down the trail. I had been planning on camping in that area, but after I saw them in there and kind of got that feeling, I was like, okay, just gonna move on out of here. There's a bunch of different hikers I saw on that same trail, and everybody was just kind of oblivious. But I saw what I saw, I heard what I heard, and I felt what I felt. Wild stuff. I think I'm gonna have my cornmeal and turn in for the night. I'll see you guys in the morning. I'm kind of excited to check out this teepee anyway.